What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here again, the Lowdown. We're going to go over a few games. We'll talk about the weather quite a bit. Talk a little bit about how things have been going on the site as well. Make sure you click the like button. It does help us out. Subscribe, and the notification button will let you know anytime that we post a podcast. As I'm getting pop-ups here, whatever. It's been a nice little run here. Had another winning day on Monday, although I missed my weather play of the day. And some of the things that we talk about here, these are, I've said this before, I record early, so there's a lot of information that's not out there. I can't find the weather. I can look at certain things, the projected pitching matchups, tell you what I like about a certain pitcher, what type of pitcher we have, and do they fit the weather. So that's what I try to do here. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at jconsports, that's CONN. And I always tell people, if you have a question about something I talked about on the show, you can always hit me up there. I answer everything. Very accessible, for that matter. And as I've said, I've been a little bit of a heater here with Pickdawgz, especially over the weekend. I think that's 5 consecutive winning days, or maybe that's 6, whatever. 5 consecutive winning days. Yesterday, 2-1, but still, you'd rather be in the green. But yeah, I'll take it, even though I had the Orioles over and Trevor Rogers looked like, I don't even know. It's one of the best starts I've seen a pitcher have this year. He just dominated for 8 innings. Did not expect that, but that's what we got in that game. And, looking at the slate coming up for Wednesday, afternoon games, there's some weather in the forecast, but I'm going to dive right into this and make sure you guys get all the info that we have. I'm going to start off with Toronto and Cleveland. That's right. We get the Blue Jays in Cleveland. 80 degrees, the wind's blowing in at about 6 miles an hour. We get the return of Max Scherzer, and he's taking on Gavin Williams. The one thing I'll say about this is we all know Max Scherzer's a Bulldog, but he's getting to that point where he's going to have to reinvent himself and not be as strikeout prone as he has been. He's one of the best strikeout pitchers we've seen here in recent years, but at some point he starts hitting more bats, and I think that's already begun. I'm not telling you Max Scherzer's a bad pitcher at all. What I'm saying is I don't think he's the elite guy, much like Verlander had to reinvent himself. I think you're going to see that from Scherzer as well if he plans on hanging on. But the weather is helpful. And then the other thing I notice about these two teams, if either pitcher gets in any trouble whatsoever, they're going to go to the bullpen. I absolutely love Gavin Williams, the pitcher for Cleveland. Flamethrower, but if you've been watching him this year, he just puts too many guys on base. I mean, when your whip is 1.46, you're asking for disaster, and he's been a guy that's gotten strikeouts because he's such a high K pitcher. So as I'm looking at this, I would lean towards the under. But again, day of, you guys got to check it out because Toronto strikes out the least amount as a team in Major League Baseball. And if Gavin Williams is one of those guys that relies on that, I'm not telling you he won't come in and strike out 7 to 10 guys. He can do that against any team. But the law of averages says that, Toronto's been pretty good at putting the ball in play. Maybe that's something you want to look at. But again, for me, this is just going to be a lean to the under, especially with the bullpens and the way they've been pitching. Let's go to Coors. I don't like talking about Coors as much. I don't like giving it out as a free play. I thought over the weekend, you guys kind of saw how my mind works. And anytime I see that amount of money being bet on one side, I'm either fading it and going the other way or not betting it. I don't like betting with the public. I don't like betting favorites of minus 200 or more. I just think it's a recipe for disaster. You're throwing stuff in parlays. I hear you. I can't fault anybody for throwing a money line in a parlay when it's minus 200. But I'm not betting those straight. Just me personally. If you do see me take a high favorite like minus 180, it must mean I really, really like that game. But with the Dodgers and Rockies, it was perfect conditions this weekend. You couldn't ask for a better spot with Coors Field, the wind blowing out, and it was hot, all tied into one. And then in a couple of those games, we had bad pitchers. The 2 games that we had bad pitchers are the ones that they didn't hit the hell out of the ball the way we expected. And on Friday with the better pitcher, we watched one team go off and the other one play a little catch-up, but it was a high-scoring game. In this matchup, we get Yamamoto versus Chase Dollander. So Chase Dollander stinks, guys. He's just not good. He hasn't figured it out yet. We'll see if he ends up doing it, but Coors Field is not a help to any of these pitchers, and especially young pitchers trying to figure it out. I feel so bad for anybody that's a thrower of the baseball and the Rockies draft them because you're going to have an uphill battle all the way. But in this matchup, we get the wind out to right, 7 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour, somewhere around there. And then on top of it, it may end up switching from left to right. But in Coors, it's such a big ballpark that the wind can throw off everything and you can still get extra base hits. I would lean towards the over in this matchup, even with Yamamoto and Coors. I'm going to dive a little bit more into the numbers when I'm looking at these games later on today, and just to look at matchups. I like to look at pitch makeup and how teams hit certain baseballs. There's some teams that if you get a four-seam fastball pitcher going up against them, they just rake four-seam fastballs. That's a team that you're going to look for. But if that team can't hit breaking pitches, and we have one of the best curveballs in the game or sliders in the game, then yeah, I'm going to look the other way. So just something with this game, I would lean towards the over. I don't care about great pitchers going to Coors, because if the breaking balls aren't happening, you better have a better out pitcher, a fantastic fastball or changeup. So let's go to the next game. Marlins at the Giants. We've talked about this. As we look at the Giants Stadium at Oracle, it negates wind quite a bit. So if you get 20-mile-an-hour winds, yeah, it's still a bump. It helps the bats. But it's more like 10 miles an hour out at any other stadium. And right now we're seeing 11 miles an hour out. It's in the mid-50s to high 50s, which isn't going to help a lot. And then on top of it, as I start looking at these two teams, I like the pitchers. We get Edward Cabrera, and Logan Webb, and we know Logan Webb can get a ton of ground balls. He's very efficient, and he's facing a Marlins team that does not have a lot of pop. I'm going to lean towards the under here as well. I think it's a good spot, and I know I've been I've been over on the Coors game, but under is going to be a theme today, as we do have some interesting weather around. There's a little bit of rain in the forecast, so make sure you're paying attention to that. And there's another game I want to point out before I get to my free play, but with Edward Cabrera and Logan Webb going, I feel like these teams should be able to keep runners off the base with these two guys. Webb more so than Cabrera. Cabrera's an arm that I really like. I mean, he got hurt. He's had his ups and downs, but I think that's a live arm that's going to play, and I think he's going to be a guy maybe we can target in the future if he continues on his path, no more injuries, but solid guy to go up against the Giants. And again, fly ball pitcher, wind. I know it's blowing out, but it's not as much as a help as it's going to look at. I think the public's going to be wrong on this one. I like the under. And with the Mariners and Twins, that's going to be my free play. But before I get to that, I try to bring up the retractable roofs and things. This could be a spot where Houston opens up their retractable roof. It's in the mid-80s if it drops at all. I can't sit here and say it's a foregone conclusion that they will, but the wind is blowing out quite a bit. And that would be a huge bump to bats if you find out that the Astros do open up the retractable roof. Now on to the Mariners and Twins. And, I mean, I feel like I've been talking about these two teams ad nauseum. The Twins have just been dreadful. I was on a Bailey Ober strikeout prop on Monday. That wasn't a play on the site. It was just another play that I had and I gave out on the morning show that I liked. I liked Bailey Ober going up against the Seattle team after they were swinging for the fences. And he stunk up the joint, but he still struck out 7. So Seattle strikes out a ton. And today we get George Kirby and Joe Ryan. It's a fantastic pitching matchup. George Kirby's numbers don't look great, but you also have to go look at the game he had at Wrigley with the wind blowing out. I think he was on Friday and just got torched. I mean, you could see it happen with any of those guys getting beat up in that stadium. But with the Marlins and Twins, again, winds in at about 10 miles an hour. There is some rain, so there is always a chance for a postponement. But rain, to me, can help with the pitching as well, unless it's they're playing in a torrential downpour. At times when it's cold and it rains, yeah, it's difficult on batters. When it's hot and it rains, and that's why you'll see me at times, I give out plays and it gets postponed. Just because there's a little rain in the forecast does not mean it's a bad place to hit. So I usually like those spots. But anyway, my free play is going to be on the under in the Mariners-Twins game. We get two good pitchers. Joe Ryan's just been absolutely filthy. He's going to strike out a bunch of Mariners. I might even take a look at his K-prop a little bit later. But the under would be the play for me here. So, guys, make sure you tune in every day. If you hit the notification button, you'll be notified when it happens. I was told code word PICK will save you 15% at checkout, so make sure you're using that as well. Appreciate it, guys, and hopefully some of this information helps you out. Feel free to like and comment. I try to respond to some of you guys once I get the time to do it, but I really enjoyed doing this, and I've been having a nice little run here at Pickdawgz. As I said, winning days 5 days in a row, and those winning days, it's not just like 2-1s. I had 3 5-game packages, and I think I went 4-1 in all of them. So really nice day on Sunday for me. And then Monday was okay. It was a winning day, but I'll take it. So I'm rambling here. Let me get out of here. You guys have a great one. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast.